Okay, so welcome to yoga. It's so nice to be together. I really appreciate you showing up for a virtual class. Um, I'm going to stay here in the front and talk to you for a little bit before I go back to the mat, which hopefully is a little better lit, so it'll work a little better for a little teaching because I need to be here to admit people if they come in to the class. So just wanted to talk about the concept today of listening to self, really listening carefully to the subtleties of your body experience. Why? Well, remember the first class I talked about the definition of yoga is yoga's chitta vritti nirodha, which means yoga is the quieting of the mind. So why am I talking about the body? Because one of the strategies that the great Patanjali or whoever it was that wrote it around 2000 plus 20 years ago, was that one way to learn to quiet the mind, to stop the endless fluctuations, or to be in the process of stopping the endless fluctuations, is to learn to focus the mind. And nothing more interesting than our own experience, right? So svadyaya, sva is self, is that one of the main tenets, there are 10 tenets of yoga from Yoga Sutras, and one of them is svadyaya, and it's self-study. And for this class, that's what I'd like us to focus on is what does it really feel like, and how can I modify it to make it feel better or good? So for sure, nothing painful. So nothing, what is pain? You know, when you're intense, nothing that's sharp and shooting, nothing that's, that you can feel doesn't feel right or good. Go with that instinct. And just really try to focus on what your experience is. So if I tried it when I teach to say, well, this is where I think you should feel this. You should feel this in the hip or the shoulder or the arm or whatever, or building core strength. And if you're not feeling it there, see if you can get it to feel there. So for instance, in down dog, so often we feel it in our shoulders if we're really tight. So the best thing to do is to bend the knees. So for instance, in down dog, a lot of times we see this. Or you say, I like down dog will never be very comfortable because it's always like this, like that. And so really your shoulders are too tight to feel that you can get relaxed. So I'll say, if you feel this in your shoulders, bend your knees so you can move the weight back. So rather than being kind of like this, you bend the knees and let the sitting bones go back. So it's that knee bend that allows the sitting bones to move back. So at all times, we want to think about, where do I feel sensation? What does it feel like? And how can I work with whatever that is? And that's really one of the main tenets of svadyaya. So that's the main idea I wanted to get across today for today's practice, is really focusing in on what the experience is. I did bring a chair today in case you wanted to use a chair. You can always modify any sitting pose by sitting on a chair. So when we're doing sitting poses, you could do this instead as a forward fold, right? If it's too much to sit on the floor or if it's uncomfortable. And also you can use the chair for, like when we're balancing, instead if you don't have a block. So you always have that option. The other thing that I did was bring some of my favorite tools, knots for my knees, and they've been really helping my knees. So anyway, why do we have props? Just so that we can have the sensation in the space we want it. And we want shoulders and upper back. Great. So we'll work definitely with that today. Okay, so that's the welcome everyone. That's the main idea is that we're going to look at, try to really keep in touch with whatever we're experiencing and try to adjust it. And there was a thing I used to do when I was teaching a lot. I would talk about the edge. And so I would say, let's say this is how far you can get. I'm trying to see this so you can see it black. So let's say that this is your tightness. And so you say, okay, I'm going to push against that tightness, push against that tightness. Basically, no, you want to just push gently and then have it move a little bit and have it move a little bit and have it move a little bit like that. It's not, bam! Like it's that ability to get opening by finding that subtle edge where you have sensation that you can work with. You can go off of it and come onto it, go off of it. And then that's how that edge gently moves. And that's for flexibility I'm speaking of, but the same thing is true for strength. So one thing I thought of a plus to a virtual class, because I would love to see you all. Well, one thing is we're dispersed, and that's nice to be from other states and countries. But another thing you can do is in this class, if you find it helpful and you think, but I couldn't really do all those things that many times, so that's a good thing to actually practice the exact same class a second or third time. If you already have everything mastered and it's super easy, then probably, you probably want to get another class. But if there were challenges in there for you, then to take the same class and do it again is a real opportunity to improve and to get stronger or more flexible. So I'd say that's a plus of the virtual world. Who knows? Okay, so I think it's that time. It's 5 minutes. Yeah, I think probably most people have arrived. So just sit for a moment on the floor if you can, and going to give a little bit of intention. So you want to find a comfortable way to sit. So either on a chair or my favorite way is with the knees forward and the feet behind me on a block. So that's where I like to be, but you find a comfortable seat. Take the hands, I'll face you. Take the hands on the side rib cage. Just feel your ribs. And then inhale, lengthen. Shoulders go up by the ears. Exhale, elbows back and rock them. Inhale, exhale. So you just kind of feel that action, right? And then turn the neck. And then the jaw. Remember we did the lion pose last couple weeks ago. So kind of feel the jaw at where it meets right in front of the ears and open wide and go side to side. Stick out the tongue. I just feel that. Arms round. Just make the arms go round a little bit. Maybe one at a time and then the other direction. So shoulders, when you say shoulders and upper back, a lot of times it's just that fluidity because we generally do this a lot, right? Computers. So just getting some movement is really helpful. Okay. And then move forward a little bit, sit on the front edge of the sitting bones, and then let the shoulders relax. So it doesn't mean jerk them down, just sort of let them soften down. See if you can get a sense of the sensation of the back bottom of your shoulder blades, your scapulas. Just see if you can move those down a little bit and toward each other, just a bit, right? So there's a little bit of lift here in the sternum. And then we're going to practice a breathing practice called Viloma breath, which is a way to expand breath practice. And the focus, I'd like to make it on the back body. I was just reading about how they can use fewer ventilators if they just turn the body on the side and the percent of the oxygen goes up in the blood, which they can, measure. And I thought, how yogic, because yes, we want to think about breathing into the back body. So if you just take your hands and place them on the back body, if you can do that comfortably, like maybe you could do that, if that's possible, or just kind of, if you can't actually touch your back body because of shoulder tightness, then just imagine you can. And inhale into the back body and exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale into the back body, relax the shoulders. Inhale, exhale, and and then bring the hands of the side of the rib cage, and these bottom ribs float a little, move. So inhale, see if you can feel the ribs float out. Exhale, let the ribs float in. Inhale. So feel actually from the inside those bones flex with your breath. So you inhale, feel the expansion like a big balloon or a parachute. Exhale, just float back in. So just do that a few times. Just feel that. And then imagine, without touching, but the hands comfortably at the side or the thighs, imagine that you are feeling the back ribs float out a little bit. It's just imagination. You exhale, come in. So you just imagine the inhale, the back ribs kind of float out. Exhale, they come back. Just breathe there. You'll find over time that your imagination, you can take your breath to any part of your body. It's just practice. And then we're going to do, as I said, that 3-part Viloma breath. And we'll do first on the inhale, a 3-part. We'll do 3 of those, and then we'll pause, relax, and then we'll do 3 on the exhale, and then we'll do both. So we imagine the breath, from the pelvic floor to the top of the head as 3 distinct parts, and we pause at each one. And I'll walk us through it, but the idea is to just have that little fill and pause, fill and pause. So relaxing the shoulders, exhale completely. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale to the top of the head, pause. Exhale, cascade down. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale all the way up to the top, pause, exhale down. Last one at your own pace. Just see how you feel. Then we're going to do the exhale. So we'll do an inhale together. All the way to the top of the crown. Exhale a third, pause. Exhale a third, pause. Exhale all the way down. Inhale up. Exhale a third, pause. Exhale a third, pause. Exhale all the way down to the bottom, pause. Inhale. And at your own pace, the last one. So now we'll do them both 3 times again, but we'll do them a third up and a third down. And I'll just walk us through the first one because really it's your breath, but you want to have that sense of, pausing, a distinct no breathing between each third. And this time, let's add imagining that we can breathe in the back body as well. Okay, so relax the shoulders, exhale completely. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale a third, pause. Inhale all the way up to the top of the head, pause. Exhale a third, pause. Exhale the second third, pause. Exhale all the way down. And continue now for 2 more rounds. Last one. Return to regular breath when you're done. And take a moment to look inside. Consider if you'd like to set an intention for your practice today. I just wanted to read you one of my true heroes, Vonda Scarvelli, the great Italian yogi who has since passed but lived in her late 90s. The song of the body. There is a way of doing yoga poses that we call asanas without the slightest effort. Movement is the song of the body. Yes, the body has its own song from which the movement of dancing arises spontaneously. In other words, the liberation of the upper part of the body, the head, neck, arms, shoulders, and trunk, produced by the acceptance of gravity in the lower part of the body, the legs, feet, knees, and hips, is the origin of lightness, and dancing is its expression. This song, if you care to listen to it, is beauty. We could say that it is part of nature. We sing when we are happy, and the body goes with it like waves in the sea. Just a great picture of waves. So take a moment and set that intention, whatever you'd like to say, dedicate this practice to. And then gently, let's come to standing at the top of the mat. So we'll just stand at the top of the mat. I'll face you for now. So the feet soft, feet about hip width apart. Always check out those knees, that the knees are not going inside or outside the plane of the ankles, and the feet are pointing forward. So just check that out. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, take one wrist and just pull to the side. Inhale, lengthen the top arm. Exhale, pull a little deeper. Now we're going to go forward and just sort of feel a stretch on that lifted arm. Inhale, exhale, forward, reaching forward. The hips are back. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, forward. Pull the belly in as you go forward. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, pull back to the top. Switch arms. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold to the side. Inhale, top arm lift. Exhale, pull down. And now feel as you exhale, just rotating down that the shoulders are forward. And then inhale, exhale, reach, and then come back up and release down. Great. And let's just tap our sternum. Of course, the sternum goes from where the clavicles come, float together all the way down here. So it's really kind of long, the sternum, but just go ahead and tap that. And having that, supposedly this is good for your immune system. The Ayurvedic doctors think this. So feel that. And then, especially since we'd like to work on the shoulders a little bit, let's interlace the fingers behind the back and see if you can straighten the arms. Maybe you can't straighten the arms. Maybe the elbows are bent. Even if the elbows are bent or straightened, see if you can, well, let's all bend them at first. Bend the elbows as we hold our fingers. And then roll one shoulder back and then the other. Yeah, and then with that the shoulders on the back, try straightening the arms to the extent you can. Just see if that works for you. See if you can just straighten the arms. If you can't, just move in that direction with the elbows bent. Great, and then the feet about hip width apart. Inhale, the sternum that you just tapped lifts, soft knees. Exhale, you float forward. Inhale, you lift up, sternum rises, elbows move toward each other. Exhale, float down. 3 more. Inhale, exhale. Breathing on the inhale as the sternum rises to the sky. 1 more. Great. And then let the eyes close and release the hands slowly. And again, just from the inside, what does it feel like? Where do you feel sensation? What is the sensation? Okay, so let's come to the top of the mat now. Inhale, take the arms up, soft arms. Exhale, float down like you're swimming. The head's forward, the hips back. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, float down. Inhale, bend the knees, come back up. Exhale, swim back, arms back as the head comes forward. Inhale, halfway up, flatten the back. Exhale, down. Inhale, arms out and up, soft knees. Exhale, float down. Inhale, bend the knees, look up. Exhale, plant the hands, and let's just bring the knees to the floor. And then let's do a few cat-cows. Inhale, exhale. Pull the belly to the back. Inhale, exhale. Just go back and forth. The exhale, you pull the belly up. The inhale, you let the sitting bones rise. Okay, so now we're going to do 3 times on the knees, and some of us can stay on the knees, and some of us will go into down dog. Both of these things are really good for initially opening flexibility of the hip and then strengthen the core. So we're going to lift one leg up and then bend the knee and bring it to the outer upper arm if you can reach it. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bend the knee, look at your knee and bring it to the outer upper arm. Inhale, look up. Exhale, outer knee. Great, and then the other side. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, watch the knee come toward the upper arm. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale, bending the knee, take it to the upper arm or the elbow, and then come down. So now we're going to try that same thing, which is a great core practice in down dog. If that's too much, of course, come back to this. We'll do 7 of them on each side. So let's spread the fingers, feel the ball mounts of the index and the ball mounts of the fingers, in other words, and there should be a lift in the middle of the palm of the hand. That shouldn't be flat. We should be kind of clawing the ground. Some of that is so that the shoulder weight isn't forward. Roll the shoulders on the back, tuck the toes under, and lift the hips up. And just walk back and forth a few times. First down dog of the practice. Just see how that is. And now we're going to lift one leg up, lift the leg high. Inhale. Exhale, come forward, bring the elbow the knee toward the elbow. That's 1, 2, the exhale is forward, the inhale is a lift. 3, 4, 5. Keep lifting up high on the tiptoes of the standing leg. 6 and 7. Hold at 7. 3, 2, 1. Lift the leg up and bring that leg down. Very good. So now the other side, same thing, of course. Always you're welcome to come to the knees. We're in the down dog. Inhale, lift the other leg up. Inhale. Exhale, come forward. 1, 2. Breathe. Exhale. Follow the movement with your breath. So the breath is riding you. You're riding the breath. Exhale, you come forward. Inhale, reach up. I think that's, not sure, 6. We'll do one more. And then hold this. 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift it up again and back to down dog. So just breathe here. Again, if you're fatigued, feel free to come down to child's pose. Otherwise, down dog. Yeah, and just see how you feel. Great. And then walk your feet forward to the front of the mat and fold forward at the front of the mat. I left your inhale, come all the way up. Exhale, come down. Great. So now we're going to use balance to step back to some other standing poses. So we're going to start with left leg lifted. Let the weight go to the right leg. Lift the left leg up. Inhale. Exhale. Take the leg back super slowly if you can. Really like you're in honey. And bring the heel down. So we're going to go from warrior 1. I'm going to move this out of the way. Coming forward. And again, that's a balance thing. It's also a strength thing. So we're in warrior 1. The front knee is bent, the heels are down, hips are largely facing forward. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Now we're going to step forward. Inhale, shift the weight to the front foot, bring the other leg up. Stay here. Inhale. Now we're going to exhale, shoot back to where we were. We do that twice more. Inhale, let the weight shift forward and lift the leg up. Exhale. Last one, reach forward. Feel the hips go over that standing leg and then lift the other leg up and bring the legs down. So one of the really important parts to me about balancing is where are the hips when you're on a leg, right? That kind of balance. Because, you know, if the hips are way back over that standing leg, there's no way you can really balance. So when the weight of the body, which is mostly the hips and torso, come forward, that's when you, so when you were stepping forward, you might have noticed that as soon as you could feel the hips over that standing leg, then it was possible to lift the other leg up. Okay, so now we'll go to the other side. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale really slowly like you're going through molasses. Bring the leg back. Yeah, just see if you can get the hips, put your hands on the hips so both hips face the front of the mat. The back toes, you're still building an arch, so you want to lift the toes up. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, roll the shoulder blades down. Inhale, exhale. Good, now we're going to come forward again. Inhale, exhale, inhale, shift forward. Feel the hips go over that standing leg, lift the other leg up. Inhale, exhale, go back. Inhale, exhale, stay, and then inhale, step forward. Feel that weight come forward and then bring the leg up. Exhale, back. Last one. And then just step forward. So if that was really easy for you, great. If it was a challenge at all, it's a great one to practice because what you're really doing is getting core strength, you know, throughout your body. Okay, so now we're going to keep going. We're going to be doing some back bends on the floor, and the floor back bends are always about sternum lifting up. And that's a really nice way to begin. Again, you always want to protect or not go into the low back. In general, back bends are about the thoracic spine, the spine that the rib cage are connected to. That's the motion you want. It's not that you want a lot of this, right? It's not all back here, it's up here. That's where the mobility needs to be. So focus on that when we're down on the floor. Okay, so here we go. Inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, fly forward like you're in a big sacred sphere. Inhale up halfway. Exhale, float down. Walk the legs back to a plank pose. So we're in a plank pose now. Notice the eyes of the elbow, that's what they call the creases of the elbow, that the eyes of the elbow are kind of pointing toward opposite corners of the mat. Shoulder blades are on the back. So it's not like this saggy, right? It's hips up, middle of the back up. Inhale, exhale, 1. We're going to be here 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale, 2. See if you can get the cuppy feeling of the middle of the palm, lifting away from the mat. 2 more breaths. Now we're going to pitch forward. And if you can, just come down a little bit and stay. And then a little bit more and stay. Anytime you need to, bring the knees to the floor and come all the way down. Now, the first time we do a back bend, the feet are about hip width apart, the toes are pointed. We're going to not use the hands. So roll the shoulders on the back, but hands lift. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, down. Inhale, roll up. Eyes just look at your nose. Exhale, down. 3 more. Inhale, maybe a little higher. 3. If there's any sensation in your low back, don't go so high. Last one, inhale. Exhale, bring the head down. Tuck the toes under. Either push straight up to plank or come to your knees first and then go to down dog. So Adho Mukha Svanasana, just see if you can bend the knees. Now, where are you supposed to feel this? Not in the shoulders. Maybe the shoulders are stretching, but the legs are doing most of the work. So a lot of times the legs are straight. We're kind of pitched forward a little bit. So bend the knees. Let them sitting bones go to the sky. Here's the sitting bones to the sky. Here's the sitting bones to the floor, right? So we're rotating the pelvis so the sitting bones are up, and then the heart melts down. So here's the heart melting, going forward and rising, and here's the expression of the heart going down, or the thoracic spine moving toward the floor would be another way to say it. And just breathe here. Great. Now let's look forward and bring the right foot forward between the fingertips and stay here on your a high runner's lunge. So one thing you can do that I think that's super helpful for the hips is to really think about the front knee moving toward the little toe side, but in the middle of the foot, and the hip moving in. So this leg eventually becomes, the thigh bone becomes parallel to the long edge of the mat. So we're there, and then we're going to twist. So the left hand down, the right arm lifts. Inhale, exhale, open. Inhale, lift, exhale, open. Always you can bring the knee down if it's too much. Always that's fine. Great, and then bring that hand down. Now we're going to walk to the long edge of the mat and turn both toes in for Prasarita Padottanasana. Inhale, bend the knees a little bit, look up. Exhale, float down. The head hangs. Inhale, bend the knees a little bit. The knees are slightly bent. Look up. Exhale, float down. Great. Hands can touch the floor or move behind you. And then just bend one knee, then the other. See where your sensation is. Maybe you're very flexible, so you need to move closer, but some of us are more tight, and then the legs a little wider feels better. So experiment in your own body. Which feels better? What does it feel better? Well, you want to feel it in the inner thighs and outer thighs, and some mobility in the hips, not the knees. No sensation in the knees. Okay, so we're just going to breathe here another couple breaths. Then come up halfway, turn to the other end of the mat, and we'll just do the revolved pose here. So other arm comes down, lift the left arm up, and breathe. So again, that left hip moves toward the middle of the mat a little bit, the tucks under, and we breathe. Inhale, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and come down again to the long edge of the mat. This time, if you can, grab your ankles or your big toes. Take a look at your beautiful feet. The feet are, in yoga are quite sacred. So you want to see that you have an arch. If you don't have an arch, let's just all do it. Lift the toes. So press the ball mounts of the foot down, ball mounts of the toes, the big knuckle, and then spread the toes and bring the toes down, but keep the arch lifted. Roll on the outer edge of the foot just a little bit, and then breathe here. Now, if you can take the big toes, take that. Try not to use the thumb as a pedestal, but wrap the thumb under the big toe and fold. Roll the shoulders around a little bit. Shake the head yes and no, and breathe. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. Exhale, 2. 3. Watch where the breath is going. 4 and 5. Great. Hands underneath you. Walk the feet a little closer, but now bring the toes out, heels in, and bring the elbows to the knees. So this is called a deve pose, a goddess pose. So you come up slowly. The knees are in the same plane as the feet. So the angle of the thighs are the same angle as the feet are, right? So that there's that, again, that relationship between the knee and the foot. As you can, you sit down a little lower, and then we tend to pitch forward. Then we try to come back a little bit, right? That's the idea. So we sit down, we come back, and then take the arms together this way. And we're just going to see how long we can stay in this position, which the legs are working hard, right? So there'll be some energy there. But we're going to try to distract ourselves and also use our breath and our arms. So we sit down a little lower. Inhale the arms together. Now inhale, open. Exhale, lift. Inhale, open. Exhale together. Keep going. Inhale. Sit a little lower. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Keep going. Sit a little lower. Inhale. Your legs, as long as there's no knee pain, this is a beautiful thing. It's really going to feel fabulous when you're done. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Sit a little lower. Exhale. Inhale. Inhale. Last one. Sit as low as you can. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Hands to the knees. Slowly come up. Move toes back. Let the eyes close. And just feel that delightful sensation, like vibrating in your legs. Okay, so I'll demonstrate this pose, and then, because we'll be there, I'll do a few things stacked so you don't have to look up all the time if you don't need to. You might want to have a block handy. So we're going to go from a pose where we face the long edge of the mat to the short edge of the mat, which always means that the feet need to shift. So we'll be in a triangle pose. And again, that's going to be the rib cage moving. So we come forward, we come to a triangle, and then we're going to bring the hands down. Now watch my back leg. I don't fold forward. I actually lift it and place it. So the hips are now facing the short edge of the mat. And then we'll do some things here, and we'll twist and then go to the other side. So it's super important what position the hips are in, and that the feet are along for that ride. Otherwise, sometimes the knees get kind of jerked around. So we want to have hips facing long edge of the mat for triangle, short edge of the mat for the other 2 poses. Okay, so we're at the top of the mat. We inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, down. Great. Inhale, bend the knees, take the left leg back, and come for we'll start with warrior 2. So the knee is bent right over the middle of the foot, the back thigh is moving back, toes face largely the large edge of the mat, and the hips face as much as possible the large edge of the mat. Now, not 100% unless you're a Gumby, so the resistance is in that front thigh. The thigh pulls back, the inner thigh moves toward the outer thigh is the expression, and then the back hip moves toward the long edge of the mat. It's not going to be 100%, but the idea is largely facing the long edge of the mat. Okay, inhale, arms up. Exhale, sink a little lower, but if we pass the knee like that, then take the foot out a little further. Then we'll inhale, take the top arm back, get a nice stretch over that underarm. Breathe here. See, maybe take the hands, clasp them like a halo, and just let that elbows go behind you. Inhale, exhale. And think about straightening that front leg now as we inhale. Exhale, press the foot and use the muscles to straighten, not so much the knee. The knee has a slight bend. Inhale, reach forward, 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 hanging, go wherever it needs to, but let's bring it back to the rib cage. Inhale, lengthen the head away from the spine. Exhale, turn toward the sky. The rib cage turns toward the sky as much as you can. The hand can go anywhere, and the top arm could go up or it could go on the hip. 5 breaths. See if you can keep getting the sensation of the rib cage, the torso rotating. Last one. Look down on the exhale. Let that lifted arm come down. Now we're going to change the back leg, right? So we bend the front knee, lift the back foot, and now it largely faces forward to the short edge of the mat. What's forward? The short edge of the mat. So bend the knee, look up. Exhale, straighten both legs. So this is a very deep forward fold. If you have blocks and you want to use them, you can use them here. If you don't need a block, then just bring the hands to the floor. So as you're inhaling, lengthen, let the right hip roll back. Exhale, see if you can fold more deeply over that front thigh. Keep breathing. Where do you feel it? Lift the toes, perhaps the back calf, the back of the low leg, perhaps the right hip, not the knee. And you actually, if you put your fingers behind that front knee, it should be soft, nothing hard in the back of that knee. Inhale, look up. Now you can either put the hand right under the face on a block, or you can cross the hand to the outside of the front foot, other hand to the waist, and twist. Inhale, lengthen, the right hip moves back, the head moves away. Exhale, turn. Just keep turning. Maybe the arm lifts. 5 breaths here. The right hip rolls back. Press the back heel to the floor. Then look down and lift the back heel and step back to plank pose. Again, we're going to be going down slowly. You can always bring your knees to the floor. If you can do a push-up or what's called chaturanga in yoga, then do that. So inhale, the back body seems to puff. We come forward, come halfway down, or come all the way down. If you come all the way down, just roll up to cobra, otherwise up dog, and then down dog. So I'll do that again just in case that wasn't clear. You always have the option when you're in plank going down to come all the way to the ground and do a cobra either with your hands or without, or up dog. So what I demonstrated was up dog. The other way is to come down, bring your knees to the floor, slowly come down. The hands move out a little bit and roll up. When I do a cobra, I like to do the twisted cobra and then downward facing dog. Couple breaths here, bend the knees, let the heart melt down. And then look forward, step forward to the front of the mat. Inhale, halfway up. Exhale, float down. Inhale, arms out and up, all the way to the sky. Exhale, down. Okay, so I'm hoping that's clear. There aren't any questions. Okay, good. So we'll do the other side now. Okay, so this time we're going to inhale, take the arms up. Exhale, step the right foot back, and I'll face you this way. So once again, we're going to bend the front knee. And when you bend the knee, if it passes the ankle, which it clearly is there, then you want to get a little wider. Also be aware of the other leg, the other knee. So again, roll on the outside of the foot just like we did in a prior pose. Lift the toes, press the ball mount of the big toe down. So we're building that arch. Arms out to the side, warrior 2. Go ahead and put your hands on your rib cage here and feel yourself more become perpendicular to the ground. So usually we're a little bit forward, futuristic, and come more to the center. Arms out to the side. Inhale, exhale. If you feel yourself like getting more flexible, getting more ability to get wider, go ahead and feel free to do that. And then we're going to rotate the top arm up, come to the halo. You just hook your hands. Take your elbows behind you behind your face as much as you can, and then open. Feel that nice stretch from the armpit down to the waist on the lifted side. Float the arms open. Slowly straighten the left leg, the front leg, and then again bring the hands to the rib cage again and roll them up and then come down. Inhale, exhale, roll them up. So the action is this fantastic twisting in the body. And then the arm goes up, if possible. Hand can be any place, but make sure if you go put your hand behind your front knee, it's soft. If it's hard, it's not good. Take my word for it. Someone that works with me. Inhale, take the shoulder up to the ear. Exhale, roll it back. And lift the arm up. Great. Keep breathing. You can get the sensation of lying back on an imaginary wall, like, you know, elegant. Oh. And then slowly bring the top arm down. Now we're going to lift that back heel and bring the heel to the floor. Again, you can have blocks here, 5 breaths here. Press the back heel down, lift the toes. Then inhale, come up. This time the right hand can go right under the face. It can be on a block or it can go on the outside of that front foot. Now you notice I just took my foot a little further forward and a little wider. Just gives you a little more stability. So that left hand is on the outside of the front foot or it's right under the face, either one, and the other arm goes up and we're twisting. And mostly it's in the torso as before. Inhale, exhale, twist right in the torso. Yeah, the arm might lift, but really that's not the main action. The action is the torso. See if you can follow your breath. Inhale, lengthen and rock the left hip back. Exhale, pull the belly in and rotate the torso toward the side. 2 more breaths. Look down. Let's turn the feet wide to the long edge of the mat again and just fold over. And then slowly roll up. Great. So since I had a request for shoulder and upper back, I want to do the thing that I think is the best for that. And it's you need a strap for this probably. So if you don't have a strap, you could use a scarf or a belt, anything like that. What I like about this is that it allows us to use our legs and back and shoulders together. So you don't need a mat. We're just going to be standing and opening the shoulders. But I am going to go to a wall just because it's a little bit more stable. So the idea is we're going to rotate the shoulders and have the legs help lift the shoulders. So I'm going to make a loop in a strap. You could just put your belt around it. And then, let's say I'm going to stand, the leg next to the wall is the standing leg, and the other leg bends behind me. And at first, and I'll show you this way. At first, I just relax, just kind of lift the leg up and find out where I can get to. We're not grabbing the big toe today. I'm not anyway. So just kind of find out where you are. Then suck the armpits down. So armpits go down, elbows go wide, and then slowly begin to kick the foot away, and that'll pull your arms back. Now you want to bend the standing knee a little bit. You want to be careful that you don't go into your low back. Keep going. I'll come out. You don't want to go into your low back. You want to use the tension between your foot and your upper and your hands to really roll those shoulders open. Do a few more breaths here. Experiment with where your edge is. So kind of come off it a little bit. That's not much. Oh, there's that edge. And then work with that edge, just like I was trying to demonstrate with those blocks, where you just try to work until you find a place where you're not hitting a wall or hitting something that appears to have energetic movement. And then slowly come out, see how that feels. And then the other side. So the opposite foot stands next to the wall, obviously. The leg lifts. And then suck the armpits down, take the elbows wide, and then feel that leg pull back. And then just feel that energy that moves between the shoulders. The sternum is being pulled forward by the legs, right? The leg pushes away and the sternum comes forward. I think it's a really effective pose before a full wheel back bend, for instance. I think it's really fantastic. And then just when you're done, just roll out of it. Okay, so now we're going to do another shoulder opener that's called elbow dog or, dolphin. So it's actually a great preparation for a headstand, which we aren't going to do today, but another day we're going to do headstand, or some of us will. Probably not everybody, but headstand is Mr. Iyengar, may his memory be a blessing, brought really responsible for bringing yoga to the Americas in a lot of ways. He said, if you could only do one pose a day, it should be headstand. And headstands are the king of poses, so they have a lot of value. For one thing, you're inverted. But this is a preparation for headstand, and it's also a fantastic strength and flexibility builder. So I think it's worth doing, even if you don't want to ever get to a headstand, which is your choice. And of course, there are reasons not to do headstand: glaucoma, high blood pressure, headache. Don't do yoga if you have a headache, generally, unless you're super sensitive, you can tell it's getting better, so you stay, or it's getting worse and you stop. Okay, so come onto your hands and knees, and you're going to make your hands into interlace your fingers and just stack the little fingers so there's no crushing the little fingers, they're just kind of stacked. And then you put the elbows about shoulder width apart, that's the idea. And we're going to tuck the toes under and lift the hips up to a down dog of sorts, right on the elbows. So come forward with the knees, with the feet if you can. Bend the knees, lift the heart, melt back. And just breathe here. So we're letting the heart melt between the elbows and the sitting bones rise. Now, you can keep the knees bent the whole time. If it's possible, you can begin to lift one leg up and breathe. The standing leg, see if you can rock the heel down and sort of feel that energy up the side of the body, the hip, and then the other side. So always the head is moving toward the thighs, right? It's moving back. And then come down and rest for a few moments. Just let the head come down and rest. So I don't know if this is difficult. I find it a challenging pose. I think it's really takes a lot of strength and flexibility in the shoulders. So if you find it challenging, it's really a great thing to practice. And if it's too much just doing what we did now, you can always use the wall again. So let's see. Yeah, you can see this. So you can always do this on the wall, right? So elbow, and then just do a wall dog, basically. Oh. So let's all just do a wall dog so we all get that feeling, because it's a great shoulder opener. And so you want to, this is a little bit narrow, but I think I'll go with it. So you bend the elbows, the forearms, and elbows to the hands are on the wall. You bend the knees, let the sitting bones reach up, and then the heart melts back. You can bring the elbows down and lean into those forearms. Lean into the forearms as the heart melts down. And then just walk forward and come out of it. Okay, so now we're going to do dolphin dog, with the diving dolphin dog, I call it. So we're going to be in the dolphin, and if that's enough a challenge, you can stay there. But you can also come forward. Again, this is considered an outstanding preparation for headstand. It builds all the strength you need. So if you're doing a headstand, you should be able to lift your head off the floor. If you can't do that, then it's probably too much weight initially. So it's good to do these preparations. So you interlace the fingers, just stack the little fingers. So you come up. I'll demonstrate this if you've never heard of a dancing dolphin before. So you come up in your dolphin dog, and then you come forward and then back. That's it. It's a movement that goes forward and back over the shoulders. So we're going to do 10 of those if possible. Okay, here we go. So hands on the floor, elbows about shoulder width apart, not wider, because that'll be a little harder on the shoulder. You do want to preserve the natural insertion of the humerus bone in the glenoid cavity. If it's out like that, it kind of isn't that great. So try to keep the elbows right under the shoulders. Inhale, lift the hips up. Exhale, back. Okay, we'll do 10. Inhale. Exhale, 1. Inhale. 2. 3. 4. Use your breath. Think of the breath as a path. 5. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then come down and rest. Just let the head come down if possible, but let the shoulders roll and relax. And then slowly, let's sit up and do some seated postures. So I don't know about you, but I can feel that strength building in the shoulders. As I say, if you could do the same practice another time, it'll be on the website later tonight. It'd be great. So let's just do, and I'll just face you. I changed the pants from black so that hopefully you could see my legs. But otherwise, I thought they disappeared on the mat. Anyway, so let's just cross the right leg over the left and sit here for a few moments. Just see if you can roll the shoulders back. The shoulders just got a lot of work. Lift the sternum. And now we're going to take the right hand behind us, the same leg that's lifted. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. And then this other elbow can either hook the thigh or just hold it. 5 breaths. See if you can make it that the belly is the engine of motion. As you exhale, that's what rotates you. And then slowly release. And then let's just take this D and put the knee ankle above the extended leg. Now, if you have any knee sensation, it's actually a good time. I know if you did a study with me before, I love the knots. So if you have knee sensation, you could put a knot behind the knee. You could also just not do it. Like that's only if it feels good. But I have often found that knots feel better. So we're going to fold forward. So I actually don't have any sensation now. Put the hands behind the hips. Inhale, lift. Exhale, begin to tilt forward and just come forward. If you can take your foot, fine, or just keep your hands by the head, by the hips. Relax the body down. Inhale, exhale. Just see if you can let the body. Now, if you're interested in sort of experimenting, just seeing what it feels like, sometimes I like, instead of going forward over the extended leg, kind of begin to fold over that bent knee a little bit. I find that helpful for the hip. But you just see what works in your body. Great. And then we'll just switch sides. So we extend the right leg, left knee bends. First, we just want to try to lift up and feel some nice height. And then the left hand goes behind us. Inhale, the right arm lifts up. Exhale, we'll hook that elbow and twist. Again, you want to feel that right in the mid-body. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twist. And just feel that as you inhale, you imagine, use your imagination to lengthen the spine from the pelvic floor to the crown of the head. And as you exhale, the belly is your engine. Great. And then slowly come back. And then again, we're in this, we're going to fold forward with that bent knee. Any knee sensation, just release it. Not worth it. Unless you do the knot. You like that. Forward fold. Inhale. Exhale, fold. And your hands can be by the side or they can be touching your foot. And then come up. So we'll do a little core practice to go down to the floor. So there's this pose called Navasana, boat pose, and then half Navasana. And it's really nice for building that kind of core of the body. So we'll do it together. We'll do 10 of them. So we come up, maybe your knees are bent, maybe they're straight. Inhale, and then you exhale, you hover. Your legs are straight, but you're not on the floor. 1, that was 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's fine to bend the knees. 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to hover, hold 3, 2, 1. Oh, relax. Nice. Nice to relax, isn't it? And then just see if you can shake the body a little bit, bend the knees, or if the knees go side to side. Great. And we'll do a bridge pose before we rest. So the feet about hip width apart, elbows by the side, press the hips up. Now make sure that the knees don't splay out. Try to imaginatively pull the knees toward each other without them going anywhere. And then if you can, rock the shoulders under and interlace the fingers. Press the feet and lift the hips if you can. They should not be in the low back, but in the sternum. So we're thinking of the sternum, which we tapped earlier, coming toward the chin. Mr. Iyengar, speaking of Mr. Iyengar, BKS Iyengar, his book shows this, and he says the sternum should be perpendicular to the floor. Yeah, and I'll tell you, the picture of him doing it as a young man, it does actually. Anyway, just see if you can feel that breath, moving that upper spine, you know, in the direction of toward the chin. And then slowly come down. Pull the knees to the chest and just roll a little side to side. And we'll finish with a lying twist. So cross the right leg over the left, knee to knee, and then lift the hips up and shift them toward the left, and then bring the knees to the, sorry. The idea is lift the hips up, move them over to the opposite direction you're going, so toward the right, and then to bring the knees to the left. And then look off to the right, perhaps if that's comfortable, or look right up. Same action, just kind of relaxing the body down, but feeling that as you breathe, you become more acquainted with yourself. Like you're uncovering and discovering sort of your experience. You go, oh, wow, I didn't feel that before, or that's interesting. And then inhale back to center, uncross, shift the hips left over right. You can lift the hips up, shift them to the left, and the knees go to the right. And then you can look off to the opposite direction if that's comfortable. And again, it's that, just see what you feel. And then slowly come back up. And now it's time to relax. You can either just extend the legs, or if you'd like, you can bring the knees bent and like knock them together like this. It can be very restorative. Whatever feels most comfortable. I like to start my Shavasana by lifting my head up, you know, taking your hair and kind of pulling it. Feels good if you do a big clump at a time. And then bring your chin to your chest, look side to side, and then slowly let the head come down. See if you can find the kind of the flatter part of the back of the head, and then relax the arms to the side. And I'll sit up, but I suggest you stay down and just let the body sink down. And let's notice how you feel. Notice that there's now we're not controlling the breath or counting the breath or holding the breath or, you know, intervaling the breath or any of that. We're just relaxing. And for today, I thought I would read part of the Yoga Sutras, which I think is particularly beautiful in its openness and incredibly expansive view of ways to find happiness. So this is from the first book. There are 4 books. By cultivating attitudes of friendliness toward happiness, compassion toward suffering, delight toward virtue, and equanimity toward vice, thoughts become purified and the obstacles to self-knowledge are lessened. Or the obstacles can be lessened by forcibly exhaling, then retaining the prana during the pause following the exhalation. Or another way to steady the mind is by binding it to a higher, subtler sense perceptions. Or the mind can also find peace by contemplating the luminous light arising from the heart, which is the source of true serenity. Or another way to make the mind's object is to make the mind's object a self-realized being who has transcended human passions and attachments. Or serenity can be come by letting the mind be grounded in knowledge that has arisen from dreams or from the dreamless state of deep sleep. Or another way is persistent meditation in harmony with your religious heritage. Mastery of tranquility extends from the most minute particle to the largest, the form of the entire cosmos. And I'll repeat that first verse. By cultivating attitudes of friendliness toward happiness, compassion toward suffering, delight toward virtue, and equanimity toward vice, thoughts become purified, and the obstacles to self-knowledge are lessened. So gently begin to deepen your breath. Let your arms and legs begin to be moved slightly, or maybe wiggle your fingers and toes. And then as you're ready, roll to one side or come up in any way you'd like to a comfortable seated position. And I'd like to close class with the sound of Om together one time. And I offer this class during these times, and who knows for how long or what times, but because for myself, I really find that these great teachings of yoga, which are practiced by moving, are such a path toward a way to find equanimity toward vice, as the sutra says. So I hope that you each, after the class, and I'll stay after a while and talk for a while if you'd like, after class, that you begin to notice your thoughts and your feelings and cultivate a sense of friendliness, some svadyaya, some kindness towards yourself. Inhaling. Thank you all so much for joining me. I'm so delighted to practice together. Namaste.